So, the FamiFun project is about to come to an end. It's been a long journey, a long series. I've been going at it for about 5 years, but the next video will be the last, and it will be a top 100 Japanese exclusive Famicom, Super Famicom, and Disk System games. But before that, I will make a retrospective on the whole thing, and it's also kind of a double retrospective because my collecting days, when it comes to Famicom, Super Famicom, and Disk System, is also pretty much done at this point. 95% done, I would say. So at the same time, it'll also be a retrospective on my game collecting. So let's get into it, shall we? So for me in game collecting, my first game collection was what I hesitate to call a collection, was back when in 2007-8 I had a collection of weird stuff, as I felt about it. It was stuff like I had E.T. on the Atari 2600, I had Manhunt 2 on the Wii, I had the stuff that came with Duke Nukem Forever, and I had Plaque Attack on the Atari 2600. I still have E.T. I also had Zero Wing, All Your Base Are Belong to Us, right? Then I bought my first Famicom game. It was a little bit on a whim because I didn't have a Famicom then, and that game was Rockboard. And I got it pretty much because I love Mega Man, and this is the elusive Mega Man game, the 7th Mega Man game on NES, so to speak. Back then, it was like one of those mythical, rare games, because I didn't know that much about games, as much back then as I do now, obviously. So I got that, and then I only had that for a while. I just added it to my weird collection. But then I bought a Twin Famicom, the one that I still have today. That was about 2009 or 2010, I forget which. My second game was Super Mario USA, aka Super Mario 2. I was a little bit fascinated with the fact that it was all pink, because back then I thought that the pink is like a girl color, and maybe that Japan put the girly color on Super Mario USA because it's somehow inferior to the real Mario 2. That was my reasoning, so it went into my weird collection. But then I found a website called JapanGamestock.com, which is unfortunately not around anymore. But it was really good, and it had Japanese imports, Famicom, Super Famicom, some others, but I only focused on Famicom, Super Famicom. So I put in my first order. I got 3 games. I got Valis for Famicom, boxed, although that one didn't last that long because it's not that good of a game. But the other 2 were bona fide classics. I got Legend of Zelda for the Disk System, and the best game, Super Mario Bros. 3. And I started small, I started slow. I got Dr. Mario. But then when I had discovered Japan GameStock, I just kept ordering from there, and I was also on eBay, of course. Got a bunch of games. And then I went to Japan in 2014, and my collection just doubled pretty much. Along the way there, I had got a Super Nintendo, a Super Famicom, I mean. Then I started to really get into it. I started researching stuff, started getting more games. So it's a big long process from there to now. Now I feel that my collecting days when it comes to Famicom, Super Famicom are pretty much over. And I've only recently, in my gaming tastes, moved from action games to adventure games, story-based and that kind of stuff. Before, I was all about GTA and Mega Man and Mario, and I still love those. But now, I'm very interested in Disaster Report and Yukiwara no Hana and the sound novel games and all that stuff. It's very intriguing, but collecting-wise, I've also moved over to PlayStation 1 and 2, primarily, because like Super Famicom before it, Super Famicom was an ocean. I didn't know that it was such an ocean of great games, because I had such a bad misconception of Super Famicom. I always knew NES was great. I didn't know that it was that there was a whole lot of games I never knew about. But with Super Famicom, I was so narrow-minded. Honest to God, I used to think that Super Nintendo is not that great. I mean, yeah, it has Super Mario World and Mega Man X, the Mega Man games, and has Turtles 3 and Contra 3 and Final Fantasy 4, 5, and 6, and a couple more, but that's about it. I mean, seriously. But with this, it's been... Back then I could have never thought that I would make a top 100 list and put more Super Nintendo games on there. But so many I've discovered. It's ridiculous, really. So I've more or less stopped collecting cartridge games. I'm actually winding down my Super Famicom collection also, because I recently got a Super EverDrive with a DSP-1 chip, so that it can play Super Mario Kart and those things. It can't play Satellaview and it can't play Super FX, but I can play most of my games. Doesn't mean I'm going to replace my collection with one cartridge. I'm only gonna do that if I get into serious financial trouble. But to go over to FamiFun again, that came about when I wanted to move to Japan to learn Japanese. So in 2015, I had made the decision. I also got laid off from work, so that helped my decision to leave my safety behind to go there. I thought that, well, if I'm going to be in Japan for a year, I'm probably going to be too busy studying and having an awesome time in general. So I thought I won't be able to do many videos, or if any. Then I got the idea, because it was built on a previous idea of I want to review every game I own, which is a stupid idea because I don't do many games. So I decided that, I put up videos when I make a video, I put it up. It doesn't matter when it is. I never had a schedule really. So I decided it would be nice to have a schedule. So I thought, okay, so if I could put up one video a week, that would be nice and consistent. I decided this in like March, and I was going to go to Japan in October 1st. So I was like, okay, from here to then, I have about 6 months. I'm going to make 52 game reviews. I'm going to focus on like imports and Japanese stuff because that's what I'm into. And then I'm gonna have all the videos already done. So in Japan, I can just relax and just upload them every Monday. But I want to make it like a show. I want to have like a proper intro. I have like a graphics package like I had at work. I want to have like a wipe and everything. So I started working on that, and then I started writing scripts, and I had recorded game footage actually earlier. So it was 2016. I had 52 videos ready to go. And then, quick announcement: my plans have been changed quite a bit. Right now I would have been in Japan, but a few days before I noticed something that turned out to be a testicular tumor, which I'm having removed now on Friday. But needless to say, it has screwed up all my arrangements. So that was 5 years and about 20 kilos ago. I didn't end up going to Japan at that time. I still had my 52 videos ready to go though, so after a little bit of deliberating, I decided that I did not want to wait to start putting them up. When I got back from Japan, I was at episode 67, so I started from 68. I didn't have at that point I dropped the whole make one a week thing, so I just kind of made them whenever, just like all my other videos. And I just kept, make one there. Because I've been to Japan, my focus shifted, because early on I did a whole bunch of non-Japanese exclusives. I guess even though I called it an import show, but I wanted to definitely switch over to a definite Japanese focus with games that only came out in Japan, and start experimenting a little more, because there was also a whole lot of platformers early on. Also, I shifted from going. Before, I was way more into Famicom. After Japan, it shifted way more to Super Famicom, because I more than doubled my Super Famicom collection when I was in Japan. It actually took over in number. Before, my release schedule was like 2 Famicom games, 1 Super Famicom, and then Then it shifted. Actually, I had one part where I had like 4 Super Famicom games in a row, but then it was like 2 Super Famicom, 1 Famicom, and then sprinkle in disc system. But around 72, 73, I don't know, somewhere around there. And because no one watches anyway, I'm lucky if I break 100. I'm really lucky if I break 100 views, which is nothing. So I decided that, well, I wanted to get to number 100 anyway, but I didn't really have the idea to stop there until that time, because I've gone through several phases of like, what's the point of making YouTube videos at all, because no one cares, no one watches, no one comments, etc. Well, almost no one. But I'm still going because I can't stop, because what else am I going to do? But I decided I'm going to end FamiFun with number 100. And at first I was going to make number 100 gimmick, because I had gotten it since I was in Japan, and I know it's a big title, obviously. But then I did the Sunsoft video and followed that with a Protoman Plays gimmick, and I talked about the production and how I met the game developer. So then I figured making FamiFun 100 gimmick would be just repeating myself. So I just But then I got the idea, top 100, because actually a user I know from Famicom World called Satoshi Matrix did a top 100 Famicom games. I think he included a disc system in that. I wanted to just make all 3 platforms, obviously. So that's what we're going to do next. Top 100, but it's not going to be just 100. It was going to be, I picked 50 Super Famicom, 40 Famicom, and 10 Disk System. It seems just kind of better that way. So it's not exactly top 100. It's more like the Atari Jaguar logic of adding stuff up to a certain number. But that'll be really fun for me. So, do you love statistics? I love statistics. Let's do some statistics. So I've made 99 FamiFun reviews. I actually done more. I've reviewed more games than 100, really, because in some episodes there was more than one game. But the ones with more than one, I've only counted one. Like Castlevania Trilogy, I counted as Castlevania. So out of 99 games, I've done 48 Famicom, 45 Super Famicom, 6 Disk System games, 7 if you count the last one where I put 2 games together, and they were 50-50. So I think that kind of should be counted as 2. So that's 100 right there. Out of all these games, 67 have been Japanese exclusive, and that really picked up at the later stages of this project. Early on, there was kind of few Japanese exclusives, actually. Games I only had on pirate cards are 7, possibly 6, because Panic Restaurant, when I did a review, I had a pirate cartridge, the one with Dom DeLuise on the cover. Now, later, I got the Japanese cartridge, Wanpaku Kokkun Gourmet Paradise or something. And 2 games I only emulated because I don't have them in any form, and that's Gokinjo Bokentai and Gekso Sentai Car Rangers. Out of these 100 games, 77 of them are platformers. And yeah, I like platformers. I do realize I'd made too many of them, though. I should have varied my selection earlier, but you know, it's done already. Overhead Action 4, Action RPG 3. And then some others, I don't have all of them. I just, those are the big ones. And obviously there's only one big one, really. So yeah, that's pretty extreme. Another fun thing to me is game companies. And for publishers, actually both publishers and developers, I might as well just give it away. Konami killed it in this project. 13 games across both publishing and developing, because Konami published all the games they developed, at least for the Famicom. So I mean, it's not even close. But the closest was in the developer section was Natsume. 9 games they developed. They only published 1, actually. I don't remember offhand which one that was, but 9 games and only 1 they published themselves. Yeah. The next one on developer is Nintendo with 4, Now Production with 3, and IRAM with 3. And Now Production could be 4 because they made Adventure Island 2 and 3. And then all the information that I can find, well, I can't really find any information to solidify it. Possibly Now Production made Adventure Island 4 as well, because they made 2 and 3. I found one website that said Now Production did 4, and I find many more that said Hudson Soft did it. But I think it's just a lack of information. So I think, possibly it was Now Production, but since there's no hard information either way, I'm counting it as Hudson. For publishers, it's Taito with 6, Hudson, Nintendo, Bandai, and IRAM all with 5. For the list, as I said, it's 50, 40, 10. That's the split. I have to give a big caveat right now that some games that you think are great are not going to be on the list, and that's not because I don't like them. Games I haven't played, I can't put on the list. This is a list of games that I like, not the games that I think should be respected or think have hype around them or whatever. It's just a game that I've played and I've liked. I've not played Seiken Densetsu 3 or Secret of Mana 2 or whatever. I've not played that beat 'em up with the gourmet theme. I've not played Famicom Wars, Super Famicom Wars. Is that a game? I think so. I have not played this game, or this game, or this game, or these games. And a few of those I really thought like Hajimari no Mori for Super Famicom, for instance. I was like, I'm gonna like that game, but I can't put it on the list because I haven't played it yet. And I also have a cutoff date, sort of. It's actually a little bit of it feels like I'm cheating, but so I didn't want to put games on the list that came out in the West. So the earliest one is Super Mario Bros. 2 for Disk System. Even though it's technically not exactly the same game, I'm counting Super Mario All-Stars as Mario 2 for the Disk System, even though it's like the Lost Levels version. And then it's games like Rockman and Forte that came out on Game Boy Advance, Mickey to Donald 3, the third Magical Quest game that came out on Game Boy Advance, Final Fantasy 3. That's one of my favorites for Famicom, actually. So if that, I don't count that as eligible because it came out on DS in 2006. I kind of want to, but I'm not going to. the one where the line is drawn is basically Biomiracle Bokute Upa for Disk System, because that came out on the Wii Virtual Console in like 2008. So basically, I'm setting the cutoff date for like the day after Upa came out, or the day before Upa came out on Virtual Console, because that has to be in the Disk System list, I feel. But Naso Nomura Samijo came out on the eShop in like 2013. That's, late enough. Like, if they come out like really like recently, I don't really mind, because, for all intents and purposes, they were exclusive for a long, long time. Umehara Kawase has come out on Steam. That's still eligible. Actually, Seiken Densetsu 3 came out on the Switch, and that's eligible. Famicom Detective Club is eligible. There's a couple more like that came out kind of recently, but I'm still gonna allow I'll be like a judge. I'll allow it.